Greetings everyone and welcome to video 2. And of course, as you can tell, for those of you who know this team, yeah, I'm going to be talking about this specific superhero team. For those of you that don't, I'm going to be talking about the group history of the first non-hero superhero team, the Defenders. Now, when I say non-hero, I mean basically every single member of the Defenders joins only because it's a threat that neither one of them can face alone, but rather they consist of individuals who really don't want to work together. They have their own plans and agendas, but they work together and try to tolerate each other just for the sake of being able to stop a threat. And the Defenders actually gathered together in Marvel Features issue number 1 in December of 1971. And they were created by Roy Thomas and Ross Andru. Yeah, Ross Andru. Andru. And many of the members really consisted of various characters from the 70s or so. However, the main four that everybody usually associates is these guys right here. Doctor Strange, the Sorcerer Supreme, the King of Atlantis, the Submariner Namor, the Hulk, and Norrin Radd, also known as the Silver Surfer. However, the Defenders would have many other members, such as Luke Cage, Nighthawk, Dane Whiteman, the Black Knight, the Asgardian known as Valkyrie. They would occasionally have Iceman, Beast, Angel. Let's see, because I don't exactly have the roster in front of me. Moondragon, and there were some that they were only Defenders for a day, which was like Bill Foster, Goliath or Black Goliath, Iron Fist. I believe Tigra was a Defender. It's like that. Much like the. I'm getting tongue-tied here because I'm getting tongue-tied here. Much like the Avengers, there we go. The Defenders have had a long and prominent roster of people who have joined and then not joined, and some were there for a day, and others were recurring, and others weren't. Clea, Doctor Strange's love interest, Clea, was also another member. Basically, guys, if I were to go down the roster of Defenders, it would take up like at least 30 minutes or so, but let's just leave it at the fact that they've had a lot of members. I think you guys would be surprised and interested by most of the people that joined their roster. But anyway, let's get into the history. There we go. Let's see. Here we go. Here we go. I really wish that they would actually subjugate the publication history with like character biographies. But anyway, the origin of the Defenders was actually traced back to 2 crossover story arcs by Roy Thomas prior to the official forming of the team. The first was in Doctor Strange issue 183, which was November of 1969. And Submariner issue 22 in February of 1970, and Incredible Hulk issue 126 in April of 1970. And it occurred when the Doctor Strange series was canceled and the story arc was completed in other series. Doctor Strange teams with the Submariner, then the Hulk, to protect the Earth from invasion by a Lovecraftian interstellar beings known as the Undying Ones, and their leader, the Nameless One. And of course, Barbara Norris, who was later the host of the Valkyrie, first appears in this story, and in the second arc, which was featured in Submariners issue 34 and 35 in February and March of 1971, he would enlist the aid of the Silver Surfer and the Hulk to stop a potentially devastating weather control equipment and to inadvertently free a small island nation from a dictator and face the Avengers under the unofficial name of the Titans 3. These two story arcs were reprinted, however, in a course which I have, the first Essential Defenders volume. They would be featured in many other story arcs. They would actually face an alien techno wizard. They would also actually be captured on by an intergalactic tyrant. They would also have a pretty damn weird part where apparently the Hulk manages to hold an interdimensional black hole while the rest of the Defenders escape. Yes, you did not hear me say that incorrectly. The Hulk actually literally wrestled a black hole. This was the 70s, people. Keep this in mind. But let's see. However, due to the popularity of these teams being formed, and this odd coupling, they decided to call them the Defenders and started publishing them. And let's see. Oh, I skipped down a ways there. Okay, the best known and most prominent Defenders are Doctor Strange, the Hulk, Namor, the Silver Surfer, Valkyrie, Nighthawk, and Hellcat. Many other heroes would work on the team in its original incarnations, with several becoming official members. Notable associate members included Clea, Hawkeye, the Son of Satan, Luke Cage, Red Guardian, Gargoyle, Devil Slayer, Moondragon, Beast, Iceman, and Angel. However, there was actually one Defenders issue where, I kid you not, Professor X actually worked with the team. Let's see, Steve Gruber. I wonder why they actually isolated this. Here we go. Steve Gruber's run on the Defenders saw a deconstruction of the superhero genre that predates the exploration of such ideas in the 1980s and the 80s and 90s. He first worked on the characters in Giant Size Defenders issue 3 in January of 1975. And became the writer of the main title with issue 20 the following month. He wrote the book until issue 41 in November of 1976. He had developed an individual voice that mixed adventure with social satire and absurdist humor throughout his lengthy run of the Defenders. This included the introduction of Korvac. And in one issue, for example, a group of supervillains, tired of always being beaten by the good guys, seek out a self-help guru for motivation. Another part of his wacky writing adventures for this was reviving forgotten characters. He would bring back 3 pre-Marvel characters, the Headsmen, and the Defenders met Gruber's Howard the Duck in Marvel Treasury Edition issue 12 in 1976, I mean. Now, D.A.K. David Anthony Kraft's run as writer from 1977 to 1979 was an eventful and decidedly offbeat developing tone. Develop the tone set by would actually take Gruber's offbeat tone and run with it. In the Defenders, he wrestled with large philosophical issues: the temptations of power, the Cold War, nuclear power, sibling rivalry, and growing old alone. Notable storylines from his era was the Scorpio Saga story arc and the Exogenesis Day of Demons storyline, where he merged his interests in music and comics by inserting multiple references to the band Blue Oyster Cult into the stories. Also, there was also a storyline in issues 63 to 65, written by Kraft, that saw dozens of new applicants attempting to join the Defenders. All of them left shortly after for various reasons, most disappointment most disappointed with the existing members. Among them was Sam Wilson, the Falcon, Marvel Man, who would later take the name Quasar, Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers, Richard Rider Nova, Torpedo, Stingray, Havoc and Polaris of the X-Men, or of the X-Men universe, Black Goliath, Bill Foster, also known as Goliath or Black Goliath, even though I personally don't like that name. But we'll get into that, if I ever do a lesser known on him. Anyway, White Tiger, Captain Ultra, Jack of Hearts, Hercules, Prowler, yes, Hobie Brown actually was a part of the Defenders for a day, and Tagat the Leopard Lord, Tagak. The same storyline also had a number of villains attempting to present themselves as new Defenders members in order to confuse the authorities and the public as they committed robberies. Members included android versions of Libra and Sagittarius, as well as the Beetle, Batroc the Leaper, the Shocker, and others. As of issue 125, Defenders was retitled to New Defenders, as the original 4 members, Silver Surfer, Doctor Strange, Namor, and the Hulk, were forced to leave the team. This was the result of an alien prophecy that stated that these 4, operating as a group, would be responsible for destroying the world. The Beast then reformed the team as an official superhero team, complete with government clearance. The remaining Defenders disbanded in New Defenders issue 152. Several members, Gargoyle, Moondragon, Valkyrie, Andromeda, Manslaughter, and Interloper, had seemingly died in a battle with the Dragon of the Moon, and the remaining members of the team left to join X-Factor. Several of these seemingly deceased members later returned in issues of Solo Avengers in Strange Tales Volume 2, issue 5 through 7, followed by issues 3 through 4 of the relaunched Doctor Strange Sorcerer Supreme series. In 1992, it was revealed in Hulk issues 370 to 71 that the prophecy had been falsified. The original Defenders were reunited in a story called The Return of the Defenders, running in Hulk Annual issue 18, Namor Annual issue 2, Silver Surfer Annual 5, and Doctor Strange Sorcerer Supreme Annual 2. Secret Defenders. In 93, Marvel sought to revive the Defenders-based brand as the Secret Defenders. The new team first appeared unofficially in Doctor Strange issue 50 and later Fantastic Four issue 374, before being officially introduced in Secret Defenders number 1. Now, the series' premise originally was that Doctor Strange would organize various teams of superheroes for certain missions, with him as leader. Members would include Wolverine, Darkhawk, Spider-Woman, Spider-Man, Hulk, Ghost Rider, and many others. This would last for the first several months of the title before Doctor Strange was removed from the book due to the character being reassigned to the Midnight Suns line at Marvel. And after the arc where the supervillain Thanos organized a team of secret defenders for a mission, leadership of the Secret Defenders would be passed down to Dr. Druid, and the series itself abandoned the revolving door roster in favor of Druid and the, I don't even know how, I'm just going to spell it out, Cognoscenti. The series, however, by this point had lost much of the hype that had preceded its launch and was quietly canceled with Secret Defenders issue 25. And excuse me. In 2001-2002, the Defenders would be reunited in Defenders Volume 2, issue 1 through 1 through 12, which was created by Kurt Busiek, Busiek, and Eric Larson, immediately followed by The Order 1 through 6, in which an old enemy of the Defenders manipulated Gaia, the spirit of Earth, into cursing the primary four Defenders, the original four, so that they would be summoned to major crisis situations. These members were then mind controlled by, I'm just going to pronounce the guy's name, and I'm probably going to mess it up, which is why I really didn't want to say it, but Yandrith, Yandroth, into forming the world-dominating Order. Since the Order was freed from its control by their fellow heroes, including their teammates Hellcat, Nighthawk, and Valkyrie, they apparently disbanded. A fill-in issue set between these two series was published in 2011. A Defenders 5-issue miniseries debuted in July of 2005, written and drawn by J.M. Dematteis, Dematteis, Keith Giffen, and Kevin Maguire, as a team best known for their work on the Justice League franchise, featuring Doctor Strange attempting to reunite the original four Defenders to battle Umar, and Dormammu. This series focused mostly on humor, as the characters spent most of their time arguing with and criticizing one another. It was later collected into both hardcover and trade paperback collections entitled Defenders Indefensible: The Last Defenders. Joe Casey wrote a new miniseries with a new lineup of Defenders. And this, as a result of the Superhuman Registration Act in the events of Civil War. Nighthawk wanted a team made up of previous Defenders like Hellcat and Devil Slayer, but Tony Stark makes the decision to select other heroes for the team, as the original Defenders team was unstable in membership. The lineup is being led by Nighthawk, with Blazing Skull, Colossus, and She-Hulk also as members. The Defenders are assigned to New Jersey under the 50-state initiative because the proximity of New York City demands more experienced heroes than can just be recruited from the ranks of Camp Hammond. There we go. The team is disbanded for incompetence, but Richmond eventually found a team outside the initiative with the Sons of Satan, She-Hulk, Krang, and Krang and Nighthawk, Shield Agent. I can't pronounce that. Shield Agent Joaquin Pennyworth. The team reappears in the miniseries Vengeance 2011. The Offenders. In 2008 ongoing Hulk series, Red Hulk assembles a counter team called the Offenders, which included Baron Mordo, Terrax the Tamer, and Tiger Shark, and fights past versions of their enemies. Fear Itself the Deep. During the Fear Itself storyline, Doctor Strange reunites a new version of the Defenders with Lyra, daughter of the Hulk, Namor, LOA, a student of the X-Men, and Silver Surfer to confront Atuma, who has become the Breaker of Oceans. Many past Defenders appear in that last issue, and the 2011 series, which Marvel recently relaunched in December of 2011, written by Matt Fraction and drawn by Terry Dodson, Dodson. Probably just messed that up severely. The new book would feature Red She-Hulk, Doctor Strange, Namor, and Silver Surfer and Danny Rand, the immortal Iron Fist. The new series followed the reunion of the Defenders from Fear Itself, the Deep. Again, and in a battle against the Death Celestials, Black Cat and Ant-Man would then join the team, and they've been partly ongoing ever since. And there's many different like memberships and legacy stuff, and they talk about the ultimates and stuff, but really I think that's about it for the Defenders. I don't think I really need to elaborate any more into their backstory, but it's certainly kind of interesting that they're not really a superhero team. They're just characters that banded together and fight threats, and then after the threat is gone, they all disband. It's kind of humorous in a way. They're kind of and I would say a parody on the superhero team genre. But anyway, guys, that's it for the Defenders. Merry Christmas to all. Have a happy new year. And hopefully next year, guys, I'm going to stop stuttering and sputtering and everything else that I do in these videos. Because I do have to admit that it's starting to even get on my nerves. Not even just the trollish comments that some of these, people try to humorously make at me, but also it kind of annoys me because I feel every time I do these videos that I need to rush. So I'm going to take the next week or so, enjoy my Christmas, enjoy my New Year's, and I'll try to work on that, and try to also get a couple of other, batch 2 videos done and what have you, but I'm not going to waste any more of you guys' time. I know most of y'all, I'm sure, are busy. So as always, guys, rate, comment, subscribe, and as I always like to say at the end of these videos, stay tuned for the next one, and see you next year.